This is Mirabella's Kitchen, and today I'm making a barbecue seitan sandwich. If you'd like to cook with me, please check the description below for a list of the ingredients and a shout out to my patrons. I start by dicing one large yellow onion. I take a saute pan over medium heat, add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I then add in the onion. I add 1/2 teaspoon of coarse kosher salt. And I coat everything in the salt and the oil, and I let it cook until it starts to become soft and translucent after about 10 minutes, and I stir frequently. I then add 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic, and I saute until fragrant. That takes about 30 seconds. I add 1 teaspoon of paprika. I also add 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, despite the minced garlic, and 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, despite the onion, because I had a massive brain fart and wasn't thinking as I was grabbing my spices, but I just rolled with it. So I saute those spices with the onion until it is fragrant, which takes about 60 seconds or so. Then I add in that mixture to my food processor. I add 1 cup of vegetable stock, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 1 tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce, 1/4 cup of chickpea flour, and 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I pulsed that in my stand mixer until it becomes smooth. It took me very little time, maybe a minute of pulsing and intermittently checking. I then add it into a medium-sized mixing bowl, and I add 1.5 cups of vital wheat gluten. I mix this with my spatula, and eventually I'm going to start using my hands once it turns into more of a ball. It's going to be very springy, and that's really what I'm looking for. So I'm trying to show how when you push down, it's going to kind of bounce back a bit. The beginnings of seitan. I bring 6 cups of water and 3 cups of vegetable stock up to a boil, though I highly recommend cutting back on the amount of water. You could probably have it, to be honest with you. It was way too much. It was boiling over, and I was having a few issues. Once the water and stock comes up to a boil, I break the seitan into 4 small balls, and I drop it into the water to boil it. I let it boil for 10 minutes covered before flipping it, and then I boil it for another 10 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare a garlic spread. This is vegetarian. You can make it vegan by using vegan mayo. I take 1/2 cup of mayo, add it to a small mixing bowl, squeeze 1/2 lemon into it, then add 1/2 teaspoon of crushed garlic, 1 teaspoon olive oil, a little bit of coarse kosher salt, a pinch, and whisk together until smooth. I like to make it a little bit ahead of time, put it into a jar, and put it into the fridge. After 20 minutes of boiling the seitan, I take the small balls out and put it onto a baking sheet with parchment paper, and I chose to use a cooling rack to raise it up so I could really get it nice and crisp on each side. It's going to go into a 375-degree oven for 10 minutes before you flip it. And then after another 10 minutes, I broke it open on the inside to kind of get the inside to start to crisp. I let it cool for about 15 minutes, and then I break up the seitan with my hands once it is cool into small pieces. I put some mild barbecue sauce into a small frying pan. I let it get warm and add in the seitan. The seitan's already still pretty warm, but if you're making this after it's been in the fridge, I highly recommend heating it up again with this method. So I probably put about 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce with it, and I let it get nice and warm. I'm taking a normal sesame hamburger bun. You can use a sesame roll if you have access to them or make them. I add a little bit of garlic spread, I thinly slice some red onion. Add a thin slice of tomato, beefsteak tomato, and add a little handful of baby spinach to the bottom underneath where this barbecue seitan is going to go. I generously put a lot of seitan onto the sandwich. I lose a few pieces. And that's a barbecue seitan sandwich. It's good with French fries. Thanks for joining me today. I make new videos on cooking every Thursday. Please support me on Patreon and on Facebook at Mirabella's Kitchen.